So Clayton, here we have the pinnacle of American luxury. We have a Lincoln Navigator, we have a Cadillac Escalade, and these two have been butting heads since 1999. That's 22 years.
These are both the short wheelbase versions of these two.
If you can believe that.
They're both very much full size, and you know, there are more expensive SUVs, but these are the largest.
Neither of these have a V8. This one has a twin turbo V6, and this one, although it is available with a 6.2 liter V8, we have the no cost option, 6-cylinder turbo diesel.
So for any other comparison, the price difference between these two vehicles would be surmountable. However, with these cars, they're so expensive, you know, that's only like a 10% difference in price. The Cadillac is the more expensive one, both at base price and as tested. Right. However, you know, once you pass the $100,000 mark, is another 10 gonna kill you?
Probably not.
Shall we see which of these is the better luxury SUV?
Okay, we have 10,000 pounds of American luxury here. Let's go drive them and see what happens.
Sounds good. Shall we start in the Cadillac?
Good idea.
Let's do it. Can you hear me all the way over there?
Where? Oh, there you are. Yes,
yeah, it's a different postal code.
I can hear you. Yep.
You know what else I hear in this car?
The engine.
Like nothing. I just hear the little bit of the engine.
Yeah.
It's just like a bank vault in here.
Yeah. And considering this is the diesel, it's very quiet.
I will say it's one of the better behaved diesels I've ever been in.
I drove out to Moseport last week, and it registered 7.4 liters per 100 kilometers.
Which is amazing for something the size of Manhattan.
I know. It's insane. It's better than my Golf GTI. Nonetheless, I think anybody who buys this is not going to be caring about fuel economy, are they?
Well, you never know. I mean, just because people have a lot of money to spend on an SUV doesn't mean they want to continually spend money feeding that SUV.
Well, that's true. And maybe they spent everything they had on this car and they have nothing left.
It's true. But I hope they have enough money left over to spend for the optional AKG audio system, because that is another experience. People always ask me, like, why is this car so big? Well, it's to fit the stereo. Shall we try just a little bit of it?
Sure.
I'll press the button.
Oh yeah, turn up that volume, man.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And the louder you put it, it doesn't get shrill.
No.
It just works.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
But honestly, the stereo, I could see cause for the price of admission alone in the stereo, simply because I don't think your money buys you a better stereo at any level. I don't think there's a better system to be had.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like Cadillac, basically they went to this Austrian manufacturer that makes microphones and headphones for studios. And they said, well,
can you do a car?
Can you do a car? They'd never done one before. And so AKG went nuts, and they 36 speakers in here, but it's not the numbers we're talking about, it's the quality, and it's astounding for sure. But you know, let's talk about everything else in here too. We have this industry first OLED curved dash, which is completely cool. Everything is very crisp and clear.
There's 38 total inches of screen in here. If you were to measure it from end to end, 38 inches across.
Right.
And it's a curved screen, and it looks very modern. I will say that the technology in this car is just top of the charts. We have that amazing stereo, we have a curved OLED screen, and that's before we even start talking about Super Cruise, which is an actual hands-free driving system. You have to keep your eyes on the road, but your hands can stay off the wheel. Only works in divided highways.
Right.
I wouldn't really want to use it on a city street or anything, but that's luxury, is not having to physically drive places.
I guess so. For me, it drives better. It has better body control. Like, we're on a little windy country road right now, and I don't feel like this is, heaving and pitching all over the place like the Lincoln does.
See, this is where I think the one point that you and I disagree about these cars is I actually prefer the ride in the Lincoln. The Cadillac, I will admit, is better in the corners, whereas the Lincoln is pretty nautical if you try to drive it quickly. But I mean, these are humongous SUVs. They're as far from performance as you can almost get. I really prefer the absolute cloud smooth ride of the Lincoln, but we disagree on what the ideal compromise between ride and handling is. And really, I think that people deciding between these two vehicles are you making that same choice? Do you want ultimate comfort, or do you want a little bit more roadability? Because with something this big, you want to feel in control of it.
Yes, yeah. And that being said, this is still an incredibly comfortable vehicle. But yeah, let's talk about comfort in the back, because that's why people buy these things, to have a comfortable third row, or at least have a capacious third row. And both of them have tons of room back there.
Both these third rows are not penalty boxes. You can put real people back there for a real drive, and they will not hate you at the end. They'll still speak to you. I did find that there was a little bit more people room in the back of the Cadillac. Moving the seats out of the way in the Cadillac is kind of a job. It's not very obvious, and it's not very easy. You have to pull one lever, and you have to pull another strap. Whereas in the Lincoln, you just press one lever and the seat goes right forwards. But I would say that neither of these vehicles lack for people or cargo space. There's a lot of room any which way you put it. There's a lot of room in these things. They're very comfortable, both of them.
They are.
So you mentioned you're getting this great mileage with the diesel, but it's worth noting that you can also get a 6.2 liter V8 with the Escalade at no cost. No cost to the diesel. They're the same price. You just pick what you want. The 3 liter turbo diesel, the 6.2 liter V8. The turbo diesel makes 277 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque, whereas that traditional gas V8 makes 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque.
Right.
So the torque's the same between the motors. Just choose if you want the extra efficiency of the diesel, or maybe that traditional soundtrack of the V8, because V8s sound good. No matter which engine you pick, none of them make anywhere near as much power or torque as the Lincoln. But maybe we should talk about the Lincoln when we're in the Lincoln.
Okay, let's go hop in the Lincoln, which you described as being a cigar lounge on wheels.
Yeah.
And then see what happens.
What if instead of driving to where we parked the Lincoln, I just snapped my fingers and we were in it?
Want to try it?
Sure.
1, 2.
Hey!
Wow.
It worked. We swapped seats.
I guess that means I'm the navigator.
Yes, you are in the Lincoln Navigator, and you certainly have a commanding presence of the road ahead in this car.
You know what I noticed first, though?
What do you notice first?
How comfortable this seat is.
The seats? These seats are great.
These are fantastic seats. And also, this has a very traditional look to it. There's all this, lovely, like real open pore wood. And I suppose for the more traditional buyers, the controls here are more old-fashioned, shall I say?
I like to think that this car looks like a cigar lounge inside. I love how it looks. It's all this wood around me. Yeah. I love this interior. I love this chrome. Even though I found that when you're driving away from the sunset, it's a wonderful mirror directly into your eyes, and probably why cars don't have a lot of chrome inside them anymore. But I love how it looks.
And plus this lovely saddle brown leather. Yes. It really kind of opens the place up. And, getting back to the Cadillac, that one is spec'd with a default black, which kind of disguises all the workmanship in the car. So that's kind of a strike against it, because I've seen the Cadillac in a lighter shade. It looks fantastic.
Exactly. It's not the car's fault. No. If you are buying one of these very expensive SUVs, make sure to get the interior in a good color. Be brave. Don't pick a black interior.
Absolutely.
So the seats, I also just have to add that they take a while to adjust in a way that's comfortable. And I actually used to not like Lincoln Navigator seats because I just sat in them, briefly, and it's like, I don't like this. Right. You have to sit down for a while and play with all the different adjustments to get it set for your body. And once you've done that, they're very comfortable. Yeah. I will say that the massage function is better in the Cadillac, but hey, a massaging seat that adjusts 30 different ways is pretty great. Yeah, we can live with that. We can, and I love the ride quality of this Lincoln. It's very floaty, very smooth. It drives like a very... It's a little nautical. Yes, despite the fact that it has a sport driving mode, which Lincoln calls Excite. Excite, yes. It does change the transmission mapping a bit, but I couldn't really sense anything else. Also, just shifting gears a little bit from the transmission talk, this is also a great stereo. I don't know how many speakers it has, but it's really, really good. It's very good. The Revell system in here is very, very good, but the problem is that the Cadillac one is on another level. So. The Cadillac is just another world of stereo excellence. Yes. But if you didn't hear the Cadillac and you bought this vehicle, you'd say, wow, this is a killer stereo, and it is a killer stereo. It's the best stereo you will experience until you hop into a Cadillac Escalade with 36 speakers. Yes. But more about the Lincoln. We love this beautiful interior. I love the detailing in it, and it looks inside and out. The Lincoln looks expensive. I had both of these parked in my driveway this week. and people only came over to talk about the Lincoln. They did not care about the Cadillac, and I don't pretend to know why that is, but it looks more expensive. It just does.
I think I can guess. First off, the color of this car is really cool. It's like this sort of white, but it's sort of like off creamy white. And plus the front of it with the body colored grille, it just has a very noble, like stately look about it.
They're both really close. They're both really good. They're both some of the very best vehicles you could pick to take a long road trip in. If you're like, oh no, I have to drive to Miami tomorrow.
And I have to tow my yacht.
And then you have to tow a boat. Like, these are some of the comfiest long distance vehicles you could buy, because not only will you be comfortable, but your friends in the second row are comfortable, and your friends in the third.
And your in-laws in the back row will be
exactly. You can fit a lot of people in complete comfort in this thing for a long time.
Do you feel that the Lincoln is just a little bit quieter inside than the Cadillac? Because I feel there's more isolation here.
I do think that the sound insulation in the Lincoln is better than the Cadillac. I like all the mechanical aspects of the Lincoln. This powertrain, I'm very impressed with.
Yeah, I have to admit, it's pretty good. I mean, it's very smooth. It's got tons of power, tons of torque. Interestingly, both these cars have the same 10-speed transmission.
Yeah, they're just tuned a little differently. I find that the tuning of the Lincoln, I actually like a little better.
Yeah.
But again, just like you said earlier, we are talking about some very detail changes. I mean, these cars are so close.
Yeah.
Now, people watching this will notice that in the background, the Cadillac had a bench seat, whereas this has a console. It's worth noting that you can get the Lincoln with 2 captain's chairs and a pass-through, so passengers can go to the third row, 2 chairs with a console, which is permanently mounted, doesn't fold up into seating or anything, or a 60/40 bench.
So Clayton, what about towing with these vehicles?
So both of these vehicles can tow a lot because they're humongous vehicles with a lot of power and a lot of wheelbase. The Lincoln has a special towing package on it, which costs a little bit extra. I believe it's about $2,500 extra or so. And that allows it to tow 8,600 pounds. The Cadillac gets by with a mere 7,200 pound towing capacity.
Would that make a big difference?
It's not going to tow the anchor for my yacht.
No. That probably is a reflection on how much torque this engine has.
Yeah, it's more torque, and also it has a dedicated towing package, whereas the Cadillac does not. The Cadillac just tows that much, and that's just what you get. But can you fit a lot of stuff behind the third row for your hypothetical boating weekend?
Not a whole lot, although the Cadillac is better. It has, I would say, considerably more space back there, and it seems to be better for carrying more stuff for your big excursions.
I will say that if I have one gripe with the functionality of this, I don't like the keyboard transmission.
Yeah, that's a bit odd, isn't it? I mean, you get used to it, but it's like you're always going, why?
Yeah, I mean,
it takes up a lot of space, and it's just, I mean, it's Lincoln's thing, right? Everybody has to have a thing. You get used to it, but it's not exactly ergonomically great.
And I guess our thing is that we have to pick a winner of this comparison.
Yeah.
So,
it's tough.
Shall we go back to meet up with the Cadillac and pick a winner amongst these 2 titans of luxury?
These posh pachyderms, these luxurious leviathans. I've already said that. Yes, let's go back and see what we can come up with.
What I want to do is run through a quick checklist here of all the things that matter in a luxury SUV, and we'll just list a quick winner for each category, Lincoln or Cadillac. So I'll just start you off. Right. Sound system.
Cadillac.
Seats.
Lincoln has the better feeling seats, but you say the massage is much better in the Cadillac.
Yeah, I think that the Lincoln has the better seat, but the Cadillac has the better massage. So we'll call that a draw?
We'll call that a draw.
Interior screens.
Cadillac for sure. It has a new OLED screen, which is I think the first in the industry, and it's pretty darn impressive. You can call up all kinds of things.
It's quite the system.
It's very impressive. Super, super clear.
Interior design.
That's a tough one. This is very traditional, the Lincoln. It's got lots of like old guy chrome trim going.
I like the chrome.
And you're the young guy. And it's got a very traditional looking layout for the knobs for the HVAC, big square screen. But that said, it's very easy to use. The icons are big. And for a traditional buyer, that might even be more user-friendly than the Cadillac, which you have to kind of work your way around and figure it out.
Cargo space.
Yes, the Cadillac actually has more usable space behind the third row than the Lincoln.
And when we sat in the third row, we agreed that which of these has better third row seating?
The Cadillac.
But which of these is easier to get into the third row?
The Lincoln.
It's all over the place.
And that said, they're both very spacious back there. I mean, no one's going to complain.
If we had to pick a winner between these two, because we do, which of these is the better full-size luxury SUV?
Okay, if we're talking pure luxury, and another part of that is the Super Cruise.
That's the part we haven't talked about, because convenience, I think, is luxury, and certainly not having to keep your hands on the wheel is a luxurious experience.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
So we agree that the winner of this Driving.ca comparison is
The 2021 Cadillac Escalade.
And for more luxury SUV reviews and comparisons, don't forget to check us out online at Driving.ca. For Driving.ca, I'm Clayton Seams.
And I'm Peter Blakeney.